Drummer here. I am in New York City, and today I'm going to do some urban hiking. How's the hair looking? That's right, friends. Today I'm in New York City. More specifically, I am in the Bronx. And I am crossing a river now that heads into Manhattan. The goal today is to walk as far down Manhattan as I can. Now, Manhattan is 13 miles long. It's already almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I was thinking about this on the train up here. If you figure my average walking pace is about 2 to 2.5 miles an hour, that means it's going to take 5 or 6 hours to walk all 13 miles. So, physically I think I can do it because I've actually done it before. Just based on time, I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough time to walk all the way. I'm going to insert a map and show you where I am. So as you can see on the map, I'm walking from the northwesternmost tip of the island of Manhattan. And I'm going to walk all the way down, or at least attempt to walk all the way down to Battery Park. I may not have enough time to do that, in which case I'm going to attempt to walk at least down to the World Trade Center where I can catch the PATH train back home to New Jersey. So I started my journey today on 225th Street, just over the border in the borough of the Bronx. Crossed over that bridge and over that river, and now I'm in Manhattan. Don't really have any specific destinations in mind. I'll film anything that I think is interesting, and then I'll also film every hour to update my progress. For instance, I'm already at 218th Street. I started on 225th. For anyone not familiar with Manhattan, I'm currently at 216th Street now, and I'm hoping I'll be able to walk all the way down to the World Trade Center at the very least, which means I'm going to have to walk through all of the numbered streets, so at least 216 blocks, and then the World Trade Center is another few blocks south of where the numbers start. Not exactly sure how many. But I'm on Broadway, and I'm basically going to follow Broadway the whole way down. I do want to veer off a little bit and go through Central Park, and then I may also want to cut back over to the west side of Manhattan and walk down the High Line. I'll tell you more about the High Line if I choose to do that. Isham Park dates all the way back to the Revolutionary War, when the site was used as a landing spot for Hessian troops coming up the Harlem River and pushing American troops up to Westchester over to New Jersey. Very interesting. Built in 1785, the Dyckman Farmhouse, or Dyckman Farmhouse, however you pronounce it, is the last remaining farmhouse on Manhattan Island. When it was originally built, it sat on 250 acres of land. Fort Tryon Park was originally known to Dutch settlers back in the 1600s as Langberg, which stands for Long Hill. It also dates and has some history with the Revolutionary War, and is currently the home of the Cloisters Museum. I'll insert a picture. The Cloisters Museum is modeled after a Catholic monastery, or the type of Catholic monastery that existed back in the medieval days, Renaissance period over in Europe. And I say modeled after because, somewhat disappointingly, the Cloisters Museum, and in fact Fort Tryon Park as it stands today, really only dates back to the early 1900s, 1920, 1925, something like that, when John D. Rockefeller bought all the land and built the museum. So even though it looks really old and historic, it's actually not. But it is a beautiful museum, and if you're into religious Catholic forms of artwork, Cloisters is the place to go. Just passed under the George Washington Bridge overpass, and I'm approaching 176th Street. From here south, the walk should be relatively flat. North of here, however, the topography is quite different as the streets rise and fall with the bedrock. It's a good workout, though. Well guys, it's about 2:30 now, and as you can see, I've just passed 166th Street, which means in this first hour of walking I've already gone past 59 blocks, something like that. And also I've left Broadway and I'm now on St. Nicholson Avenue, which kind of cuts diagonally through Manhattan and brings me on a more direct route to Central Park. That there is the Bailey House, and it was built in 1886. One of the last remaining grand houses in Manhattan. And it's an example of the type of homes that populated this entire area of northern Manhattan back around that time. Time for a check-in. It's about 3:30 and I've just passed 115th Street, and I'm also now on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. That is a mouthful. But I turned on this street as I'm about to enter Central Park. Well, I'm now in Central Park. Not sure exactly how long I'm going to stay in the park because there's no direct route north to south. I'm going to lose a lot of time if I were to trek through the entire park. But I'm staying close to the west side. I'll walk for a little while and then probably get off on Central Park West. I'm in a section of the park known as the North Woods. Would you believe this is New York City? Unfortunately, the North Woods are still considered to be a pretty dangerous area, especially at night. It's rather unfortunate. Look how cool that is. So that's Belvedere Castle in the middle of Central Park, built in 1869, and the turret is the highest point in the park.
That's what I wanted when I went to McDonald's before the change.
5:30 and time for an update. I am on Broadway crossing 41st Street, still headed south. .6:30, time for an update. I am on 8th Street. Avenue behind me is 6th Ave, and I am headed towards the heart of Greenwich Village. Right on that spot, back in 2007, I shook the hand of soon-to-be President Barack Obama. That's the famous arch in Washington Square Park. That arch has been featured in so many movies. The only two that come to mind, however, are I Am Legend and When Harry Met Sally. Throughout the 90s and early 2000s, I used to play in a number of original music bands, and that meant that I was in the village at least once a week, if not twice. One of the favorite places for myself and my bandmates to eat was Mamoon's Falafel. Look at all this Mediterranean goodness. Well, folks, it is time to end the video and say goodbye. I've made it back to the new path station at World Trade Center. My legs are killing me. My battery's about to die in my phone. But before I go, let me show you what this weird building looks like on the inside. It is impressive. I'm not sure how I feel about it though. It kind of makes me feel like an insect crawling around inside of a dead animal carcass. Anyway, what do you think? Comment down below. And then, go take a hike.